A new telescope has been launched into space. It's a fantastic piece of engineering, many times more powerful than the Hubble. In space, it can be very stable. Its orbit is very precise. It can be pointed at a little spot in the sky. And then it receives the energy that's been coming toward it for millions of years. It's stable. We become stable in meditation. Perhaps more accurately, meditation becomes stable. There is knowing of rising and knowing of falling. In the same way, there is knowing of the wandering mind. There is more and more frequent awakening in the dream. The fantasies of future and past. Really not through some effort of ours, except to stay here, to stay stable. We might discover that the mind is full of desire. It's wanting something. It can be very subtle or rather coarse, wanting. We can discover the opposite, where the mind is striking against the object. It doesn't like the experience. Don't like this. In either case, it's the thirst, the desire, the wanting that creates the dukkha, the suffering, the unsatisfactoriness. The mind might be restless and agitated, worried. It's going to solve the problem by thinking. Or maybe it's just anxious. Perhaps we can feel the location of that in the body. None of these experiences are a mistake. They're all just what is. Or maybe it's sloth and torpor, sleepy dullness. Or perhaps even doubt. Doubt which arises from conflicting belief systems. We don't have to get rid of doubt. It passes. The best antidote is the company of good friends. Or maybe there are pains, discomforts. Maybe there's emotional pain of some kind. from the stability of our practice. It all becomes phenomena of observation. Here, where I am, the rain falls on the roof. I say rain, but the actual experience is not rain. The rain is a kind of pointillist sound. One relies on memory to create a perception. Oh, it's rain. And then there may be associated papancha, mental proliferation. I wonder how long it's going to rain, or it could be snow. I wonder how it is for those people caught in that traffic jam in Virginia in the snow. Then there's a thought about summer, and perhaps this will mean there will be more water this year. And there's a thought of gratitude for such a good roof. And so on. The associations can be endless. And we can come to bear attention in which there is just this sound. There doesn't even have to be someone who hears it. There's just sound and hearing. There doesn't have to be any description at all. It's a nice sound. It's a comforting sound. It's an unsettling sound. What about those poor people in their flimsy tents camped around the city? Thinking, coming back to the bare sound of this. No adding anything. Is there any sense of doing it wrong? Or somehow it should be different? What if we were to notice that as a thought? What if that became as clear as a wandering mind wondering what to have for dinner? even if it were to persist as a background, kind of like a mood palette. It has many flavors. It might be, well, I have to improve myself, or maybe if I just did this well, then I could be happy, or someone would love me, or maybe I could love me. How much tension could fall away? With the realization that I am doing the best that I am, and I am this. Is there tension in the solar plexus, in the breathing? What would happen if this fell away, this trying to be good enough for someone to approve of us, to approve of ourselves? It would be just this, wouldn't it? Just this in-breathing and out-breathing. Kind of like the ultimate vacation. We didn't even have to ride an airplane or find a hotel. Didn't have to take time off work. Here we are in this precious moment of our life, with nothing to prove. No one to impress. The mind may be quite concentrated or quite restless. And we might add a mantra. You might intuit what it is that you want or need to hear. May I be at peace. May I live the rest of my life as one great sigh of gratitude. On the out-breath, may all beings, may all of my loved ones be peaceful. May there be peace in our time. Jim, would you be so kind as to pull up the link to the reading tonight and put it in the chat? You can get it from the website. The one announcement I want to make is that tonight, 7 p.m., I'll be hosting a Zoom meeting this mind loves to go quiet right now. Hosting a Zoom meeting in which Vanessa Redgrave, who I've been impressed with since, I don't know, 60 years. I think she was in a movie. What was it called? It was a movie about photographs showing a crime. Anyway, she's reading a crafted script from Joan Didion's The Year of Magical Thinking. And there's no charge for it. You can always, of course, go to PIMC and make a contribution, but this is a copyrighted thing, so. Anyway, it's an amazing story that she writes about what happened in her mind in the year following the death of her husband. So, for a long time I talked about doing something like this, and then finally I did it, or we're doing it. Hopefully it all works. And that's really, I guess I should announce this, that Jim and I will be teaching a 5-day stay-at-home intensive retreat. So the people on the retreat will not be gathering together somewhere. They will be in their own home, and we will be doing what we can to support them. We're going to be assisted by Trina. Trina Tron will be helping us. And Kat, who's been functioning as a very helpful assistant to me, has been doing support, getting the letters out and everything. So anyway, the effect of that here is that I will not be teaching on Sunday morning, and neither will Jim. I'm not sure who is. Gregory's taking care of all that. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday mornings we will also be absent, but someone will be in this little box on the screen. I'm rather looking forward to it. I love retreat teaching anyway, but let's see what we can do. Everyone will be in their own home, so in my home it's like all the repair, fix this, clean up the garage, and I'm going to actually give people instructions. If it is time to clean up the garage, then on one of the break times, of which there will be quite a few, why not mindfully clean up the garage, make it part of practice? So we'll see what happens. Is there anything else I should, there's that word, should speak about, Jim?
No, there's the usual schedule of classes on the PortlandInsight.org has the links to Doug Pullen and Candle, but I won't be on next week.
Oh, that's right. Right, slacker. Thanks, Jim. So, friends, have you something you'd like to speak about? Can you hear the rain? No, interesting. I was not there when the two young men who were putting in the carpet in the community office in the pass-through finished last night. But otherwise I would show you pictures. I saw it was partially, 3/4 finished when I left. The leftover carpet for the roll from the roll that we purchased for the living room was quite sufficient to cover the community office beautifully, and Mish was in and painted it, so it's the same color as the living room now, and it was really garish before. And the carpet was, it's like, how could anyone have ever put that carpet down, and here it is 20 years old. And then the carpet in the pass-through, I won't try to explain it, but there's a step there, a concrete step that's about this high that they built up, and that's all going to be nicely softened with beautiful carpet that goes right through to the Dharma Hall door. So there's lots of little painting things that are going to happen, but we're really getting close. In fact, once I hear today from one more carpet shampooing company, commercial carpet cleaning company, I'll decide on one of them, and then I'm hoping they can come in either this week or early next week, and then we can schedule a day to take the big plastic tarps off all the belongings in the furniture in the Dharma Hall, and hire a couple of guys to come and help the tenants move all their stuff out of the Dharma Hall down into their offices. Puts a little pressure on me to get the doors stained, but we won't have the certificate of occupancy for about at least another week and a half or two. That's when all the bells and whistles are done, all the T's are crossed and I's dotted, and then they would be able to begin to actually practice out of their offices again, to, quote, do business from their offices. So we're getting awfully close. And I don't know about the first opening, though I do have some information about it a little bit that we've talked about, and that is that for those who would like to come to the center for at least Sunday morning, we will have a online registration, because we have to limit the numbers. I'm not sure what our numbers will be. I think it'll be something like 40. And it'll be vaccinations required, masks required, no food, no coffee, tea, and things like that. And I'm not sure, we'll have to refine it some beyond that. One of the things I'm contemplating is the first Sunday of the grand opening is doing two. One at 10 o'clock and one again at 12 or something like that. It was like Catholic Church in my childhood. Shall we go to the 10 o'clock Mass or the noon Mass? Or the 5 o'clock French Mass? Anyway, more will be revealed.
I definitely think you should do a French meditation, however.
A French meditation?
Yeah, meditate in French.
Okay. Alors, asseyez-vous dans un mode confortable. Et il faut prendre attention à l'esprit. Interestingly, in French, the word for breath and spirit is the same word. Pay attention to the spirit, l'esprit. Je m'appelle Robert Beatty, je viens de Montréal et j'ai étudié le bouddhisme en Inde et aussi en le Thaïlande. That would be pretty clunky. It's one of the losses of my life, actually. It's been quite painful. My mother was French-Canadian, poor French-Canadian. And she married my dad, who was pretty poor as well. And they moved to Montreal, and my father never learned any French. I think he had a learning disability, actually, but we never spoke French in the home. And here I was with a French mother in the second largest French city in the world. And it's not an uncommon thing with immigrants, but and then we moved to an English suburb, so I went to English schools, and so I got French for 11 years of school, and I worked in French in Geneva for a year, but it's nowhere near fluent, and that's a loss, isn't it? I could have been completely bilingual. Which makes me think of one of my favorite jokes. I think I can tell it here without getting in too much trouble. Do you know what you call a person who speaks 3 languages? Trilingual. Do you know what you call a person who speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. You know what you call a person who speaks 1 language? American. In my travels and living in Europe, most people in Europe speak at least 2, 3, sometimes 4 languages. It's just normal. The Swiss speak at least 3. There is a 4th language in Switzerland. It's called Romansh, which is over the Alps on the Italy side. It's not very many people, but they maintain it. It's one of the Swiss languages. It's related to Italian and Rome and Latin. So let me make a little more room. Anybody else want to say something? C'est vrai, says Susan. It's true. Yeah. I will be teaching.
Hi,
Oh, go ahead.
James.
Hi, James.
Hi. I just wanted to thank you and Dave Meyer for the distinction on Duca yesterday.
Oh, good.
That was very helpful for me to know that Duca is suffering, or the resistance of. That clarifies quite a bit for me.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. That conversation is pretty powerful.
That is a very central understanding. Yeah. And the Buddha teaching, I teach only one thing: dukkha, the cause of dukkha, and the end of dukkha.
I almost didn't ask that question yesterday because I thought it was too picky and technical.
Well, turns out that was wrong. And how wonderful you shared it. I have an interesting, touching thing to do this morning after we close. I got an email yesterday from someone I've never met. And she is attending to a woman with whom I was lovers briefly in the 70s. Really briefly. And but it was a wonderful dance in which we were careful with each other, and I've heard about her every now and then in my travels, and she spoke of me yesterday and asked her friend to send me an email because she can't use the computer anymore. It's 50 years, at least, yeah. And so this morning I get to, and the woman said, please, whatever you write, make it short, because she really can't handle much more than a few sentences at this point. So I get to, I feel teary. I get to write and say goodbye and tell her how much I appreciated the brief dance we got to do. It's quite something how important people are who flit through our lives briefly, but we connect deeply. What does one say, you know? I never forgot you. Of course. Well, friends, shall we sing our way home? Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Isn't tight, Jim?
I missed that, David. What did you say?
I said Gesundheit, Jim. He sneezed in the middle of the song.
I see.
Yeah.
So long, friends. Have a very fine, precious day today.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye, friends on